My question is that the normal people or person, how to consume and what is the ideal way and what is the consumption way of the sick people. So these are the two aspects I would ask.
Sure,
Thank you.
Sure. I'll throw some light. It's not so easy because I don't want to take only one question and explain it for half an hour. Fundamentally, when you're looking at preventive health, it is generally more than adequate to have first thing in the morning, anytime after 3 a.m. And 3 a.m. is an arbitrary line that we have drawn. Okay, that I have drawn. Because we have to decide somewhere what is early morning. Because some people get up at 2 in the morning to pass urine. We say, okay, forget it. After 3, you start. And there are some specific reasons why early morning urine is more potentially powerful. Now, one of the things that has been found by a friend of mine, I forget his name. When his name comes, I'll tell you. He has found that if you take Shivambu, it is required to take 10 ml per year of life. So if I'm 50 years old, I should take about 500 ml, plus minus a little bit is okay. But I can't take only 200 ml and get preventive results either. Okay. So if you keep that rough figure in mind, if you're 70, you need to have 700. Now, obviously, you're not going to pass 700 ml first thing in the morning. So you might need to drink 2-3 times a day to top up to get the optimum benefit. Okay. But when it comes to illness, depending on how sick they are, how severe they are, what you wish to achieve, whether you want to get everything better within a few weeks or whether you want to coast along, one of the important things that you need to watch out for is the body capable of intense change? Sometimes patients are not capable of intense change. If I was to drink Shivambu all day, every day for a week, I may get diarrhea, flushing, etc. Now, if that is happening, and if I'm so weak that diarrhea is going to make me feel weak and I don't have infective diarrhea, then my guide should be watchful to say, hey, no, that is too much for you. You better slow down. Because the whole idea is Shivambu is not to hurt anybody. And then on the same lines, we have found people who, if they have half a glass, is too much. They need only a couple of spoonfuls. But they are exceptions. But you need to identify that. And that is what I mean by prescription and guiding people correctly. The next question, please.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, good evening. Can you suggest this better remedy for cataract, eye cataract?
I just mentioned I'm not going to make it into a clinic. Okay. But what I will do, I will take that question as you want to ask whether it is good for the eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, eyes, when I follow 2, 3, 4-year-old Shivambu for eyes. Now that is very harsh on the eyes. It stings bad, but it is quite effective also. But you need to be careful. Again, some people cannot tolerate it. You shouldn't do it. People can use fresh urine 3-4 times a day. Use an eyeglass. But I recommend something more. Not just use the eyeglass, but when you dip it in the eyeglass, you do not just open and close. First you open and close. Then you keep your eyes open and move the eyeball left, right 10 times, up, down 10 times, so that the whole eye gets circulation with Shivambu. But that is generally good for most eye conditions. Cataract will come part of that. And you might need more. See, one of the things we need to remember is, if I've got cataract, does that mean only my eye is a problem? Or is it coming from my body system, which is a problem? And I've seen people being told, you just wash your eyes and you'll be okay. But if my body, if my liver is not working okay, and if my organs are not working okay and affecting the eyes, then unless we fix that also, nothing is going to happen. It is like my finger has got gangrene. But the real problem is circulation. So if I just apply to the tip of my finger where it is gangrene, it is not going to fix it. I need to do that. I also need to take internally. I also need to take precautions to fix my circulation, whichever way, doesn't matter how I do it. And then your gangrene is going to disappear. That doesn't mean Shivambu doesn't help people who have got gangrenous or damaged fingertips or leg tips, toes. We have got very good results with that also. But that will be short term. It will get healed for the time being, and further down, because you haven't changed the circulation and improved the whole body, they might have a problem again in 6 months. They will come back and say, oh, this time I bumped my foot and now it is becoming gangrenous. Can I do the same as last time? Now that is like, I've got a headache, I take a pill, headache gone. Oh, I'm okay. Are the pill killed the headache experience. Headache is still there. The painkiller has cut the experience of feeling the headache. So you need to do something to look at the cause for the headache and get rid of it. And then we wonder why that headache became something else and something else 4 years, 5 years down. I have no problem. I just used to get headaches for the last 20 years. Anyway, next question, if there is any.
Anandji, let me ask you a question.
Sure. Any question?
Yeah. As a person, you are doing so many research works in Shivambu, and you have a
trying. I've got my handicap.
Yeah, very good range in mental, physical, and spiritual, and so many ways. You have a very good range of the research work. So we have in ancient times we have that Shivambu Kalpavidhi and Water of Life book is there. But in nowadays, new invention like cross massaging, cross drinking, and cocktail drinking. So many new inventions are there. Old urine drinking, urine drinking. How do you look into that?
Okay. Look, fundamentally, what I have realized is ancient knowledge is more wisdom based. Okay, whatever we have modern knowledge is just being mixed and matched to make something new. I'll give you a simple example of yoga here. I'll use yoga as an example. Today you find 10 different names for yoga. Bikram yoga, hot yoga, cold yoga, this yoga. Are they doing any different yoga? But they're just using it as a publicity tool. I'm doing something new, so no more business will come. And whether they're practicing proper yoga or not, that's a different story. Nude yoga. Nude yoga is another craze that has been going around. And recently I saw beer drinking yoga. So you do asana and you do beer and you go, I'm doing an asana. What joke is it? You want to drink beer, drink beer. Why the hell are you confusing yoga and beer and making a big deal out of it? But some marketing gimmicks are being used everywhere to just bring new names, new things. But ancient knowledge is solid. I defy anybody to show me what is written in the Shivambu Kalpavidhi can be understood by anybody and is replicated anywhere. The recipes and stuff, I'll give you a simple thing. They have said you should collect Shivambu in gold, silver, copper, iron, bamboo, bone, leather, plantain leaf, and I think there are 2 or 3 more. Why have they said all that? Why didn't they use other stuff? Why didn't they say ivory? Because they have found with work they have done that these have got some benefits. Now they have also left it hidden. For example, I tried copper. Put Shivambu in copper. Before I could drink it, the glass was crystal clear, like you put Nimbu for copper and clean it. Ekdam chakachak, shining, beautiful. I said, oh, I'm not drinking that. It has already got some copper stuff. Is it going to be good or bad for me? I don't know. I don't want to keep ingesting 4 weeks of copper in my body. And if it is specifically good for some arthritis, then it should be used as a prescription. But that is where they have kept it hidden. So for the person who is knowledgeable and who knows how to use it correctly, that knowledge is there. They have given the knowledge and say, use these different utensils. But where to use, when, at what level, we need to learn. We need to become knowledgeable. And that is the same across the whole spectrum of Shivambu Kalpavidhi shlokas. And if you look carefully, it is the same across Ayurveda, Yoga, all our ancient treatises were always one shloka, 4 words, 5 words, explains the whole philosophy. How can it do that? Because it is widespread. The essence is so much in detail that it explains everything if you understand it. If you don't understand it, it is like just waste of time. Drink water, you'll be okay. How can we be okay? So you don't drink water. So like that, ancient has got tremendous value. We just have lost track. Today, the IITs are doing work with ancient historical work that has been written about physics, about geometry, about mathematics, and finding out that our ancients were very knowledgeable. And my feeling here, and I'm sorry for foreigners if you feel offended, the West has taken it, especially the British, have taken it as a task to belittle our knowledge so that we feel we don't know anything, when the reverse is true. And I'll give you example after example. You talk about meditation, came from India. You talk about yoga, came from India. You talk about so many other things, Ayurveda, came from India. You talk about preventive health, came from India. You talk about jewelry, you talk about zinc making, came from India. You talk about pure stainless steel, the Ashoka pillar, non-rusting for how many years? 700 years. They can't find out how to make it, but we used to make it. Every Tom, Dick and Harry in Orissa used to have a iron kiln and could make that kind of steel. We used to make the best wood swords, which today Iraq says they make, but we used to make it. That steel was impeccable. So with that sort of heritage, and I've just mouthed off half a dozen things. The world has just been doing things enough to show that India is useless. India doesn't have any talent. India doesn't have intelligence. India doesn't have anything. So we need to wake up and say, okay, Shivambu wise, stop all this nonsense. We have plenty of knowledge. Are you ready to digest it? We will offer it. But we need to be trained enough, educated enough, astute enough, learned enough to be able to apply that thoroughly. Then people will respect us. We can't go and say, Shivambu Kalpavidhi is mine. So what does it say? I don't know. That is falling flat on our face. Then don't open your mouth, just shut up. But the moment you say Shivambu Kalpavidhi is good, you should be able to argue your point and stand your case and come out and give results. And when the results are there, people will jump at it. Does that answer your question? I'm not sure, Balu. Maybe we'll talk about it later. Any other questions? Let's take.
I just
One more question, sir. When you consume this Shivambu, what happens to the body metabolism immediately? Also, its application on the body as a massage purpose. What are the process?
So you're
Thank you.
asking me what happens?
Yeah, when you consume immediately the metabolism, the body.
All right, look, this is my theory. Okay. But again, like I said, we don't have enough research facilities who are interested in going into it. When you consume Shivambu, first, as I said, urine, when it is passed and interacts with air, and we don't know whether it's the oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, or whatever from the air. When it interacts, it becomes medicinal value. It becomes therapeutic value. When we ingest it, the first thing I think that happens is, and I've experimented with this, I used to do headstands. And when I used to drink a glass of water and try to think of putting a headstand head down, just to do a headstand, the water would come up. Blah, 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 blah. So I didn't do it. And one day I thought, let me try with Shivambu what happens. So I drank a glass of Shivambu and I went and did a headstand and nothing happened. No wood coming up, nothing. And I said, what is this? How can it happen? It's like water. But the reason I believe it didn't happen was not because I did something super, because Shivambu with all its ready-made ingredients does not need to be processed. As soon as it went into the stomach, it got absorbed in the blood. So it did not stay in the stomach. So because it has got the same ingredients as blood, it gets absorbed in the blood very quickly. And it is what I call the fastest food. There's no food you can get that is so rich in all the ingredients ready-made for absorption. You can give me any fast food, junk food, fast food, good food, bad food, anything that is cooked. It has to become elemental form through the intestine before it joins the blood. But Shivambu doesn't need that. Now, as part of that cleansing process, Shivambu has urea. So urea has got what I call a hygroscopic quality, which means it absorbs water. So when it goes through the gut, I suspect what it tends to do is it absorbs water from the intestinal lining. Now, don't forget, one of the things, if you look at my fingers like this, that is how the intestine is. Intestine is not flat tube. How many of you have seen a plumber open up our drains and see how it is clogged up? Most of us have seen it, right?
Yeah.
It is a clean tube. It doesn't have serrations like that, uneven. In spite of a clean tube, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years or more, it is all blocked up and rubbish stuck there. You can actually take it out and where did all this come from? You don't even realize what we are flushing down our drains. Now, when you have a gut which is like this, how is it going to be clean? Can I put a water hose in my mouth and just turn the fire brigade on and it will flush out at the other end? I will be dead within 5 minutes. So when I take Shivambu actually helps cleanse this because it pulls water from there. So it becomes like a shower. So imagine a shower clogged up from the outside. Now, if you turn the shower on, it is going to become clean, right? That is what I believe happens with when you take Shivambu, especially more so when you fast on it. Because the urea level in the body goes up, and through the gut, when the urea level goes up, the watering starts. So whatever is gunk is stuck in these villi gets released. And that's why for those of you who have done Shivambu fasting or who have done Shivambu for long term, you will find initially you get some flushes of bowel movement. And somewhere after 2, 3, 4 weeks, or if Nitin Patil may be able to tell us a bit more on his 10-day fast, on day 2, day 4, day 5, sometimes you will find a bowel movement which is so stinking that everybody will say, even when I flush it, smell doesn't go away. Where did it come from? It is all that inside gunk that has been waiting there for so long, and you're slowly releasing, and now it has come out and exposed out. And that's why it is stinking, because yesterday's stool didn't stink. So it is all this collected stuff that is coming out. And that is what it does. And once it starts cleaning, the other thing we have noticed is if I go on a Shivambu 3-4 times a day, I get good bowel motion, I feel clean. There are times when I'll feel really hungry, extra hungry, more than normal. Because my gut is clean, so now I feel I should eat more. Problem is, if I eat more, I'm going to overload my system again, which could not handle it. So I should eat my normal meal. But the temptation is there because the body is so clean that it says, send me food. Now I can absorb better. I can give you more quality. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, perfect, sir. Other question is
Yeah.
how to apply on the body as a massage purpose. Any benefit?
Okay. Look, the body, I talked about the skin condition that we managed to heal. There are specific requirements for external application for the body. Shivambu Kalpavidhi talks about concentrating it to 1/4. So if you take a liter of collected urine, you must boil it to make it 250 ml before you can apply on the body. Similarly, I find we need at least a 3-month-old Shivambu for external application. I don't advise patients to use after 1 week of fresh urine and whatever. Rather, some places fresh urine can be harmful or ineffective. Okay, so 3 months old. Now for this particular patient, I had to use my, I think, 5-year-old collected urine. I've got all this 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 7 year. Like the whiskey collection, I've got my collection. So I gave him a sample of that and I told him, you've got problem all over the body, both arms, both legs. On one arm, you use my sample 1 teaspoon, rub it on the affected area, and don't do anything for the other arm. And after half an hour, you wash it and go to sleep. The next day he woke up and he said, oh, the itching has gone on this hand is still itching. I said, right, now I know what works for you, what level you need. So we had to get him to concentrate his urine. Now my urine would have been effective, but it may not be the perfect medicine. It might be a stopgap. So for perfect medicine, you need your own urine. So then he collected his own urine, boiled it to 1/4. And then one day he boiled it to 1/6 and then complained it is burning. So there are definite limitations on what we should do, how we should do it, how we should go about it, etc. We can't just take it for granted and say, do anything, everything. Does that answer your question, sir?
That's correct. What about the fresh urine you cannot apply on the body?
I don't recommend. It is not advisable. It will not be effective.
But it is harmful?
What could be? We don't know enough about it. If the harm comes after 3 months and you don't even know what harm to expect, how will you know it has harmed you? Problem is
Okay.
there. Problem
Yeah.
is there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I speak to you?
Okay, sir, I have one more question.
Yeah,
please.
yeah, sure.
What about your experience for gangrene patient?
For
Gangrene patient.
gangrene.
Yeah, gangrene patient is it's a clean curable or not curable?
No. You're talking about gangrene, right?
Yeah, gangrene.
Yeah, okay. Look, again, it is curable. I have seen 2 or 3 or 4 instances where it has healed and improved.
Okay.
But the point I made earlier, that don't just go with the local application only. Local application also will help, but you also need to make sure. For example, gangrene is much more common in diabetics. A general rule. Okay. Now the diabetic fellow says, I will apply urine, but I will eat sugar, I will eat jalebi, I will do everything and it should be okay. Shivambu will fix it. Take a danda and beat him up. This is rubbish. You need your sugars to be in control. That is something that needs to be looked at proactively. And that is what I mean by we don't look after our patients as well as we should.
No,
We do shortchange.
what I mean to say, ki we are giving a diet that sugar patient, and is it curable or not curable in your side?
Many curable hai, but patient has to listen to your advice. Na? Patient
That
doesn't
we
do
know.
anything.
Yeah,
That we know. But I
Yeah.
just had recently, I had a person who's suffering from cancer who happens to be a medico.
Yeah.
I told them to go on a Shivambu fast. And then I found out later that they're having 50 or 100 ml. And then do you expect results?
No,
And if they don't get results, they are the worst publicity for us. Because that person is a doctor. So they're going to say, Arey, I tried Shivambu, I talked to the best people, but I didn't follow their advice. They won't tell you that.
But our Shivambu and naturopathy is both is connected for this gangrene and diabetic patient. It's connected for naturopath and Shivambu. Massage and drinking.
Madam,
it's
what
a
you need to
terrible.
realize is body. What you want is change in the body, whether you use Shivambu, whether you use naturopathy, whether you use diabetic control, whether you use elevation, whether you use allopathy, doesn't matter. But bottom line is you need to get those results. And to achieve those results, you need to have some sacrifices. You need to put input. People don't want to put input. They want only output.
But sir, it's my experience. My patient is already cured. It's a gangrene patient. That's why I'm asking you for your
So that's
opinion.
good, na? If it's
Yeah.
good, why are you asking me? You
If
should be
patient
telling
is
us.
not listening,
When you lecture,
then
you talk about
that is
that.
why it's that fault. It's not
Sorry?
our fault.
Sorry?
If they are not listening, then definitely it's not curable.
Yeah, but if we don't advise them properly and we don't tell them to go away, no, listen to me. I'm talking about Shivambu now. If I tell XYZ person Shivambu will help, do this, and they don't follow that advice, and then they have to get their leg chopped off, they are going to blame Shivambu. I tell my patients to go home, not Shivambu, even my regular patients, if they're not listening to my advice, because then I tell them why. The reason is, if you go somewhere else and people ask you, you went to Bapat and you didn't get results. They say, yeah, I went to Bapat, didn't get results. You don't have the guts to tell them, Bapat told me to do this. We didn't do anything. That's why we didn't get results. Then the person will say, okay, no problem. We know what Bapat is. They won't say that. They will just say, we went to Bapat, we were there for 6 months. So within 4 weeks, I tell my patient, either you're with me or you're away from me. Because you're not listening. So we need to become firm. We need to be strict. We need to, since we want to give quality, we need to put that effort into them. Make them think, because everybody thinks, goli lo, kaam ho gaya. Everybody thinks it's all easy. Nothing is easy in life. Any other questions?
Sir, can we use 1/4 boiled Shivambu into eyes?
Into?
Eyes.
Maybe too strong, depends. If you can handle it, that's fine.
So it is better to use aged or this boiled one?
No, aged is always better. Aged is always better.
It's a little better. Okay,
Because
okay.
don't forget, when you boil it, it becomes concentrate.
Understood.
See,
Okay.
when you age your urine, if I fill a bottle up, I don't lose half of it. The quantity is the same.
Yes, sir.
Maybe 1 or 2 ml or 5 ml may be changed. I haven't measured it. But the bottle doesn't become quarter. So when you're boiling it, there are some elements that may be lost. So aged is always better. But when you age urine, you need to be careful that it doesn't have infection, doesn't have fungus, doesn't have any problems. It is stored properly.
Okay.
All right.
What about
Any other questions?
1 minute, Anandji, what about the sunbath of urine? Sunbath of urine.
What about the sun bath after application?
No, before application.
Then I'm lost. You said sun bath.
Heating of urine by sunbath, sunlight.
Oh, heating the urine by the sun.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not an advocate of that. I haven't practiced that. I do know that people use colored bottles to get the benefit of different color therapies, etc. But I haven't got experience, so I can't really comment. My only concern is Shivambu is a living entity. So there are bacteria, viruses, whatever in there, fungus. When you put it in the sun, there is a possibility that the sun is not there 24/7. So there's a possibility that it will be exaggerated. I'll give you a comparative example that might explain it a bit better. If I was to cook chicken today and eat it today and there is some leftover, I put it in the fridge. I do not heat it the next day. Because when I heat it, whatever bacteria are there become more active. And if I have to heat it, then I should heat it till it is boiled, which means the taste is gone. So it is better to eat the cold, bring it to room temperature naturally and eat it. So same thing can happen to urine, but I don't know. I don't have experience there. But like I said, the biggest problem with all these gray areas is we really don't know what we are looking for as effects, side effects, etc. So we just need to be observing, documenting, studying, and then learning. I'm sorry, I can't answer that, Balu, for you.
It's okay. So,
Anandji, I am Ajayan Jaladhan from Kollam. Can I say some questions to you?
Yeah, of course. That's why we are here.
Your 40-minute talk is very interesting and informative regarding
Thank you.
Shivambu. But my doubt is that while talking, you are quoted the importance of prevention health benefit of Shivambu and the different dimensions of Shivambu. Could you please explain further?
Okay. Now, when we are talking about preventive health, first thing you need to understand is most of us are not normal. People look at me, I'm 68. People ask me how old you are and they tell me I'm 52, 53. So that's a plus point for me. But that doesn't make me normal. I know what my weaknesses are. Okay. So I may be on that continuum of this is disease or close to death and this is normal. I may be closer to that, but I'm not normal. And in acupuncture, I have learned that there are very clear guidelines and criteria to decide what is normal. So that has helped me understand normality a bit better. So when I use that, I find most of us are not normal. Somebody gets angry, somebody gets frustrated, somebody is not fit, somebody is not flexible, somebody has cold hands and feet, somebody gets a headache, women get period problems, men have mood issues. So many things happen. Or people don't sleep, or when they sleep, they dream. So all these things are not considered normal according to proper health guidelines. I'm not talking about WHO. WHO talks about, I don't have a disease, I'm normal. That is not a definition of normal. That is a definition of absence of disease. Okay. So most of us are not normal. Now, when we are talking about preventive health, we are looking at getting closer and closer and closer to normal and then above normal. So the example I gave you about that lady who had very minor period problems, very minor. And then when she took Shivambu over 3-4 months, she found that her periods were silky smooth, was a sign that normal period should be like that. And I can sit here and make a statement, blank statement. I don't think I've come across any lady who has periods like that. They have some discomfort, some problems. They may be minor, but there is there. So you can now judge where is normal and where is abnormal, where is normal and what we think of normal. So when you start doing that, then automatically you're looking at heading towards meditation, heading towards spiritual growth, heading towards personal well-being. And for that, you need a lot of physical input, dietary input, lifestyle changes, etc., to go along with your Shivambu. Shivambu will be a good tool because Shivambu is a refiner. It refines the body in every way. So as it keeps refining, it helps you grow one step at a time. And that is where the preventive health feature can come in. Now, irrespective of that, I may be taking it for preventive health, but that doesn't mean my health is going to stay like that. Health is a changing commodity. If I tomorrow don't sleep for 2 days, I will start falling around when I'm walking. I can drink Shivambu all day, but if I'm not resting, there are going to be problems. Unless I've achieved enough level that I don't need sleep. That's a completely different ballgame, and I'm not there. But we forget all these things. And we believe Shivambu can do magic for anything, irrespective of what I do to my body. And that is wrong. So we need to review everything in a combined light so that we get the best of what we need to get. And preventive health can be achieved to a tremendous level, and a lot of yogis tend to practice Shivambu because they know the benefits of it.
Okay, sir. One more question. What is your
Yes.
opinion about the Sattvic food when